Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod, and happy Sat Stacking Friday, TGIF. Let's get it. In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis, as well as huge breaking news. El Salvador's legislators are paving the way for a Bitcoin bank in El Salvador. That's right, Bitcoin country going higher. Rocket ship to the moon. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin breaks 18-month hash rate uptrend. We'll be discussing, are the Bitcoin miners capitulating? We'll also be discussing Donald Trump wants the United States to rule the Bitcoin mining industry. Can you say global hash wars? Let's go. We'll also be discussing, here's what's needing to happen for Bitcoin to hit new all-time highs, according to Fidelity analyst Jurian Timmer. We'll also be discussing breaking news. Microstrategy upsizes their latest stock sale to $700 million from $500 billion to buy more Bitcoin. Shocked? I'm not. I mean, that's a straight up Giga Chad move. And speaking of the Giga Chad, Michael Saylor, he also recently spoke at the BTC Prague conference, which is the biggest Bitcoin event in Europe. And he made a very bold prediction, a Bitcoin price 1,000xing from here to $70 million per Bitcoin. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market, all this, plus so much more in today's show. If you're new to the channel, very important to smash the likes and subscribe. This is the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. Also important to smash that bell icon and turn on all notifications. That way you get notified each and every day when we go live. Also, please repost this on X. It helps out tremendously. Yesterday, we had over 10,000 live concurrent viewers on X, which is a new record here at Crypto News Alerts. That stream less than 24 hours ago, simply on X, already has over 32,000 views, all thanks to the fam. So I greatly appreciate all the support. Today is pod episode number 1670. I'm your host, JV, and it's June 14th, 2024. The market is still correcting. We're trading above 65,000, currently down 1,600 on the day. Let's kick it off with our market watch. So not only is Bitcoin down, but also Ether and all the major cryptos in the altcoin market. And checking out coinmarketcap.com. Let's see if I can get a refresh for the latest data. We're currently sitting on a 2.36 trillion market cap. And the top 100 crypto gainers for the past 24 hours are Notcoin, up 12%, Toncoin, up 5%, Uni, up almost 4%, and Akash Network up 1%. The rest of the market is virtually bleeding and in the red during this correction because, you know, Bitcoin, when it goes down, typically the alts get super wrecked. It's just the way the world works, at least in crypto. But checking out the Bitcoin market cap, we're sitting at almost 1.3 trillion, just shy. And checking out the crypto bubbles to get a visual on the day, not looking so good. Probably 95% of the market bleeding and in the red. But zooming out on the monthly, a little more optimistic, maybe 10 to 15% of the market in the green overall. But overall, obviously bleeding in the red. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index, we're currently rated a 74. Yesterday a 70, last week a 77 in extreme greed, and last month a 64 in greed. So there you have it, crypto fam. And massive shout out to Grant. He just gifted 10 memberships to the channel. So we greatly appreciate that support. Congratulations, WCB, Joseph Gorley, Jason Buck, OG Backroad Crypto Bootleg, El Chorizo, Mark Anthony, Don Dangler, DNA Noonan, Robert Ruff, and Josh Rodriguez. You've all been hooked up with the Microstrategy membership of the channel on behalf of Grant Noakes. So greatly appreciate you, Grant. That's very kind of you. Welcome and congratulations to all the new members. You're going to notice your name is now officially green, and you're going to have a badge next to your name every month. It's like a loyalty badge. It changes color. And right now, the most loyal are the yellow badges. So I greatly appreciate, respect everyone with a yellow badge next to the name, including Dankness, Serge, Melda. Yeah, I mean, you guys are awesome. Barack, Monfils Evangelista, welcome family, shared on X. Thank you, Dusty. But anyways, let's dive into a little bit Bitcoin technical analysis, aka astrology for the broskies. The headline here reads, Bitcoin breaks 18-month hash rate uptrend. Let's actually rewind. Can Bitcoin whales project Bitcoin price from new 48,000 downside target? That's right, 48,000 downside target according to an analyst. So I actually want to share this with you first. Bitcoin is a dividing opinion at 67 Gs as disappointment builds over the latest failed Bitcoin price breakout. After touching 70,000 earlier in the week, Bitcoin once again abandoned its attempt to leave a stubborn trading range in place for many weeks. Instead, regardless of the volatility that came from the U.S. inflation data, the market returned to all too familiar territory. Now, Peter Brandt is not discounting the possibility of new long-term lows coming next, quoting the legendary investor, the old man, Peter Brandt. He says, sometimes the most obvious interpretations of a chart work out. Most of the time, the charts morph, but the most obvious is this: breakthrough 65, then the market goes to 60, breakthrough 60, then the market goes to 48. And he kind of outlines it here in this chart, brought to you by Peter Brandt. Now, I disagree. I think 60 will hold strong. Personally, I don't see us dipping below that. But according to the analyst, if we do, then we're likely to go all the way down to 48,000. What are your thoughts on that? Now, Bitcoin last traded below the 50 mark in mid-February. That's right. I recall on my birthday, I was praying to Satoshi, please let Bitcoin hit 50,000 on JB's birthday on January 11th. And lo and behold, we didn't hit it. But February 12th, the following day, we smashed 50 Gs. I remember it like yesterday because it was my birthday. But anyways, the current all-time high is sitting at 73.8, which we captured back in mid-March. Those highs have since become formidable resistance, with data from Trading Suite, Decent Trader, showing the extent of liquidity in place there and beyond. Quoting Skew Analytics, there's pretty thick ass depth around 70,000 and higher. Market will require some new narrative, probably to bid through that. And meanwhile, the whale trends counter the Bitcoin price gloom. Not everyone subscribed to the downside, being the most likely Bitcoin price direction to come. Now, the Bitcoin whales obviously are the smart money, and some market observers even noted this has upped Bitcoin exposure significantly at the recent price levels. The number of whale entities holding at least 1,000 BTC is near all-time highs of its own this week. That's what's up. According to Willy Woo, yes, this is bullish. Every cycle in the past, the FOMO phase of the bull market starts when they start selling into the price rally. An example, divesting from being whales. Now, crypto investor Quinten referred to data from the on-chain analytics platform CryptoQuant, which showed the whale purchasing hitting $1.3 billion. So the whales are going to continue to stack them biddies, just like Michael Saylor and Microstrategy. Now, Max Keiser shared huge news. Huge. El Salvador's legislators are paving the way for Bitcoin Bank in El Salvador. Bitcoin country is rocketing higher. Move here. What are you waiting for? Now, here's the news from Milena Mayorga over from El Salvador. As part of our economic plan for El Salvador, we propose a BPI, Bank for Private Investment, where we can diversify the financing options offered to potential investors in dollars and Bitcoin. I mean, this is precisely what we've been awaiting. This way, if there's a Bitcoin bank just like this in El Salvador, that means the people there will be able to borrow against their biddies, which is precisely the product we're seeking and looking for in the U.S. banks, which have yet to come into fruition. So shout out to Milena Mayorga for sharing the news, along with Max Keiser, and shout out to Bukele for making this a reality. So I'm looking forward to this. This is massively bullish news. Lock Sky just gifted 5 memberships to the channel. So congratulations, Anonymous, Chris Klein, The Everlasting Bliss, Vance Willis, and ERV. That's like 15 memberships already gifted today. But anyways, fam, let's keep it moving. We do got a lot to cover. Our next story of the day, we're going to be discussing the hash rate, which according to this headline, Bitcoin breaks the 18-month hash rate uptrend. Let's discuss it. The Bitcoin hash rate has broken down from an 18-month uptrend, suggesting the start of the potential Bitcoin miner capitulation. Following an 18-month uptrend, Bitcoin's true hash rate fell to around 600 exahashes per second. The hash rate is used to measure how difficult it is for the miners to mine Bitcoin. The breakdown from the uptrend could signal that some Bitcoin mining firms are selling their Bitcoin, according to CryptoQuant CEO, who recently shared. The Bitcoin hash rate's 18-month upward trend has broken, suggesting some miners are capitulating. That's right. Despite the drop in Bitcoin's hash rate, miner firms haven't been selling significant amounts of bitties. The Bitcoin miner flows to crypto exchanges fell from a monthly peak of 15,470 BTC on May 21st to just 7,239 BTC on June 13th, as outlined here. However, the Bitcoin price drop doesn't seem to be caused by miner capitulation. The Bitcoin price fell from over 71,000 on June 5th to the current roughly 66 range, which we're currently in. Now, meanwhile, the decline in Bitcoin's true hash rate could also be attributed to the mining firms turning off their older generation ASIC chip mining rigs, which have been unprofitable since the fourth Bitcoin halving, which just occurred on April 19th, almost on 420, depending upon where you live. Meanwhile, Bitcoin's total hash rate fell to 586 terahashes per second on June 12th, according to blockchain.com data, as outlined here. The temporary drop was predicted by an April 19th report by CoinShares, which expects the hash rate to surge next year in 2025. According to the report, our model forecasts the hash rate rising to 700 exahashes by 2025, although after the halving, it can fall by up to 10% as miners turn off unprofitable ASICs. The temporary reduction is attributed to the increased costs of Bitcoin mining due to the halving, along with rising electricity costs. However, the profitability of mining operations largely depends on the cost of electricity and the companies in which they're paying. The S19 XP and M5 0S Plus, two of the older ASIC models, operate at a less cost, with electricity costs at 0.0 kilowatts per hour. I don't know how accurate that is, but nonetheless, here's the math for you nerds out there. I'm not going to read it all because it's like speaking a different language, but obviously electricity is one of the biggest factors when it comes to profitable mining because electricity is the largest cost to run a large operational mining rig. So for example, that's why Russia is opening up shop in Ethiopia, starting a Bitcoin mining hub. Why? Electricity is probably expensive in Russia, not so expensive in Ethiopia. And with the United States, some of the states have certain rules or regulations where you can get the mining cheap. I think Texas is one of those places, probably like Wyoming and Midwest states as well. Whereas if you were trying to get electricity in Puerto Rico, you'd be paying through the roof. Same with Hawaii. Hawaii, probably the highest out of territories here in the United States. Our next story of the day is the latest from Mr. Trump. Donald Trump wants the United States to rule Bitcoin mining industry. Hash wars. Let's freaking go. U.S. Pres, or former U.S. Pres, Mr. Trump says he wants all future Bitcoin to be mined in the United States after meeting with key industry figures. That's right. June 12th, Trump met with Riot Platform CEO Jason Les and its head of public policy, Brian Morgenstern. Afterwards, Trump took to Truth Social to voice his support for domestic mining firms. As you can see here, vote for Trump. Bitcoin mining may be our last line of defense against the CBDC. Biden's hatred of Bitcoin only helps China, Russia, and the radical communist left. We want all the remaining Bitcoin to be made in the United States. It'll help us be energy dominant. Amen to that. Now, to gain an insider's perspective on Trump's Bitcoin epiphany, Cointelegraph spoke with Greg Beard, CEO of Stronghold Digital Mining and former head of energy at Apollo. Quoting Beard here, the U.S. is and should be a leader in supporting and securing Bitcoin as an alternative to the ever-deflating values of sovereign-backed currencies. Furthermore, according to the Beard, U.S. President Biden should join Trump in fighting Bitcoin in Bitcoin's corner. I'm not holding my breath there, Sleepy Joe. Quoting him here, as Bitcoin miners, we are a new and maturing industry. We believe in what we are doing, and we think Bitcoin is the right asset for the American society and far beyond it. We hope to have the support of any administration. Now, Beard may get his wish, although the Biden camp has been less vocal of its support. I mean, it's clear Biden, Warren, and Gensler are clearly against crypto innovation and Bitcoin. Let's just be clear, family. It separates money from state, and they're pro-state because they're ultimately puppets of the state. Just pointing out the obvious. Now on X, the Bitcoin community responded positively to Trump's intervention. Jan 3 CEO Samson Mow was amongst the most bullish regarding the long-term implications of Trump's support. Quoting Samson Mow, I guarantee that this move from Trump will be discussed behind closed doors by governments, around the world. That's right. Mainstream media news outlets are already talking about it. We saw the industrial and commercial bank in China embrace Bitcoin yesterday. This is going to push everything ahead even more. Send it. Another user said, if you don't think Trump is going to make the Bitcoin price the daily numerical measure of the success of his second term, you don't know Donald Trump at all. And not everyone was quite so impressed. Laura Shin, host of the Unchained Pod, was one of the dissenting voices, quoting her. Why is everyone celebrating Trump, saying that all the Bitcoin should be made in the USA? Doesn't that create jurisdictional risks and make Bitcoin less decentralized and vulnerable to attack? Why are you applauding that? I don't get it. Now, I think this is the infamous Laura in which Michael Saylor was being interviewed and said, it's going up forever, Laura. Just saying. Now, meanwhile, Shapeshift founder Eric Voorhees told Shin not to get bogged down in the details of what Trump said. Voorhees described Trump's commentary as nonsense that betrayed both a lack of understanding of Bitcoin and a lack of understanding of economics broadly. Ultimately, Voorhees said, such a statement means a welcoming environment for Bitcoin generally in the U.S., and that's great. So there you have it, family. Let me know your thoughts on Trump and making Bitcoin miners great again, bringing them back to the States. Let's freaking go. Here's an all-time high outlook. The headline here, let me pull this up for you. The headline here reads, here's what needs to happen for Bitcoin to hit new all-time highs, according to Fidelity analyst Jurian Timmer. Now, if you're not familiar with Jurian, he's the analyst and head of macro over at Fidelity and the one who predicted Bitcoin to reach $1 billion per coin by the year 2038. And a part of that prediction is due to the hyperinflated value of the dollar. But here we go. Here's the latest from Jurian Timmer. Fidelity Investments Global Macro Director says that for Bitcoin to hit fresh all-time highs, one key event must occur. He tells his followers on X that Bitcoin adoption may need to increase before Bitcoin can print new all-time highs. Quoting him here, the growth of Bitcoin's network has slowed in recent months while its price has continued to gain. In my view, this divergence between the price and adoption could explain why Bitcoin has slowed down a bit along its path to potential new all-time highs. The pendulum, which only swung so far for new highs to continue, the network may have to accelerate again. Could this be driven by the next chapter in the fiscal dominance thesis? Well, the analyst also says that he believes Bitcoin is competitive to gold as a store value and that the growth of Bitcoin's price is also driven by its scarcity in central bank monetary policy. Quoting him again, in my view, Bitcoin is exponential gold, and as an aspiring player on the store value team, my work suggests that the price of Bitcoin is driven primarily by the growth in its network, which is in turn driven by Bitcoin's unique scarcity feature, as well as the monetary and fiscal policy cycle, and of course, sentiment. The analyst believes that Bitcoin's adoption curve remains on track based on the growth of non-zero addresses, but needs to uptick for the price to start rising. Quoting him here alongside the Bitcoin adoption curve chart, this chart shows Bitcoin's growth network along a simple power curve. The number of non-zero addresses have converged towards this power curve, with Bitcoin's price oscillating around it like a pendulum. Now, such is Bitcoin's unique series of boom-bust cycles. Now, we all know Bitcoin is on a cyclical cycle every 4 years with the Bitcoin halving, and then we typically break out, reach new all-time highs preceding the halving, and for the first time in Bitcoin history, we finally broke the previous all-time high pre-halving. So some say this time may be different. Let me know your thoughts. So let's knock out the rest of the news. Our next story of the day is a $700 million BTFD. Buy that freaking dip opportunity for the Saylor. That's right. Mikey Saylor himself just purchased or on the verge of purchasing a lot of Bitcoin, as the headline reads. Microstrategy upsizes the latest stock sale from $500 million to $700 million to buy more Bitcoin. That's right. I'm not surprised. I think it'll probably keep raising it as he typically does. American software tech firm Microstrategy announced the pricing of a new $700 million debt offering due in 2032, which will use to purchase more Bitcoin. According to the official press release, the notes will be sold in a private offering to qualified institutional buyers under Rule 144A and the Securities Act of 1933. The offering has been upsized from the previously announced $500 million aggregate principal amount. The company will use a portion of the proceeds to purchase BTC. The company will use a portion of those proceeds to continue adding more Bitcoin to its corporate treasury. MicroStrategy has acquired 214,400 BTC with an estimated value value of $14 billion at this time, according to the latest data submitted in its 2024 Q1 financial results. Now, the notes unsecured senior obligations of Microstrategy will bear interest at a rate of 2.25% per year, payable semi-annually in arrears on June 15th and December 15th of each year. The notes will mature June 15, 2032, unless earlier repurchased, redeemed, or converted according to their terms. Quoting them here, subject to certain conditions on or after June 20th, 2029, Microstrategy may redeem for cash all or any portion of the notes at a redemption price equal to 100% of the principal amount of the notes to be redeemed. Now, Microstrategy estimates that the net proceeds from the sale would be approximately $687 million after deducting initial purchasers, discounts, commissions, and estimated offering expenses. If the initial purchase exercise their option to purchase, or purchasers exercise that option, additional notes in full, the total proceeds can reach approximately $786 million. Microstrategy intends to use the net proceeds from the sale of the notes to acquire additional biddies and for general corporate purposes. Microstrategy's move on June 14th follows the firm's announcement that it plans to raise $500 million through a similar offering on June 13th. The expansion to $700 million continues to align with the Bitcoin maxi firms, not so Microstrategy, to bolster its Bitcoin holdings and position in the crypto market. It's important to note that being sold under Rule 144A of the Securities Act of 1933 means the notes will not be officially registered under the SEC. Take that, Gary. And notes traded under this rule of 144A cannot be sold or bought in public markets without meeting SEC legal prerequisites. So there you have it. Crypto fam. There's the latest from the Giga Chad. Mike Saylor with his purchase of $500 million being up to $700 million. Just like that. Now for our feature story of the day, here's the latest from Michael Saylor. He just gave a presentation at Bitcoin Prague, the largest Bitcoin event in Europe, and he shared some very bullish thoughts, including a 70 million Bitcoin price prediction, in which I reposted earlier from Luke Broyles, who highlighted all of this. So let's get down with this thread from the one and only Mikey Saylor. I'm going to read it all to you here. Today, Michael Saylor predicts an 8 million Bitcoin at BTC Prague and implies a 70 million BTC. No joke. Here are the 21 rules he gave instructing how to hodl the volatile next 1000x in Bitcoin price, along with Mikey Saylor's math. Let's break this baby down. Number one, those who understand buy Bitcoin. Those who don't criticize Bitcoin. The people who can't see a paradigm shift mock the transition. The people with vision being to vote with their feet for the new system. Amen. And then he continues. Number two, everyone is against Bitcoin before they are for it. Michael Saylor explicitly referenced his post on Bitcoin in 2013 when he claimed it would likely follow the route of online gambling. Bitcoin was $892 then and remains an orange portal to cyberspace today. Number three, you will never be done learning about Bitcoin. No matter how smart you are, you can never outsmart hundreds of millions of companies, tens of billions of humans, or dozens of trillions of bots. You will never fully understand the future in which Bitcoin is pricing in. Well said. Number four, Bitcoin is powered by chaos. Michael referenced the WW2, I guess World War II and communism in Prague in Europe. Would you rather own a house, company, or gold in a nation fighting the war? Or would you rather own the Swiss bank that holds everyone's gold? Buy Bitcoin because entropy is guaranteed. Number five, Bitcoin is the only game in the casino that we can all win. Every game in the casino of assets protected by political currency is rigged against you. In a long enough timeline, you are going to win if you keep playing the Bitcoin game. All other games eventually fail. Number six, Bitcoin won't protect you if you don't wear the armor. Get off a zero and take a 1% allocation. However, you'll look back and wonder why you allowed 99% of your body to be burnt. The more you understand the fire, the closer to 100% of your body you cover in armor. Well said. Number seven, Bitcoin is one thing in the universe that you can truly own. All assets in the ancient world were protected by a governing authority over you and property rights granted by a collective of humans. Until Bitcoin, now your cryptographic keys in your head are your wealth Amen to that. Everyone gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve. Michael reflected on how he dismissed Bitcoin at $892 and to only deserve buying it at $9,500. He then said when Bitcoin is $950,000, people will try to wait for it to crash to $700,000. Then Bitcoin will go to straight to $8 million per coin. Continuing, number 9, only buy Bitcoin with the money you can't afford to lose. Reject a system that forces you to take risks to preserve your energy and redirect towards the system that rewards your saving. Ignoring Bitcoin today is the decision to starve yourself tomorrow. Number 10, tickets to escape the matrix are priced in Bitcoin. Saylor described how the GDP, CPI, and infinite QE is in the matrix in which we live and the price the world from within. The escape valve from the arbitrary collection of data points to fit the narrative is the outlier, which is Bitcoin. Number 11, Bitcoin insight is restricted to those who need to know. Saylor described to me at dinner how without Bitcoin, Microstrategy would have failed. He was going to lose billions, but instead made billions. Michael's Bitcoin increased by 54 million during his 40-minute talk alone. Imagine that on stage. You start your presentation, you show your net worth, and then it goes up $54 million by the end of your talk. Mind-boggling. Number 12, all of your models will be destroyed. Saylor on stage predicted he believes 24% CAGR for Bitcoin in the next 10 years is extremely conservative. That would be a 600,000 Bitcoin by 2034. When Godzilla comes to the playground, your model of who wins the game are irrelevant. Amen to that. Number 13, the cure to economic ill is the orange pill. Economics have been a pseudoscience for centuries and the cure to ancient tech in a new innovative paradigm, upgrading the world to future tech. All of our flawed worldviews on money are from a flawed money. Amen to that. Number 14, be for Bitcoin, not against fiat. Don't use aggression or violence against a dying system. Instead, be cheerful and constructive into building the parallel system. Don't give the critics the leverage to call you mean, arrogant, or disrespectful. And continuing, number 15, Bitcoin is for everybody. Saylor, clicked off of that, my bad. Bitcoin is for everybody. Saylor claims the need for digital. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Let me go back to where we were. I think that we were on 15, right? It keeps skipping me ahead to number 20. My apologies. Let's see. Here we go. Bitcoin is for everybody. Saylor claims the need for digital capital. Bitcoin has the potential to be half of everything in the future world we are yet to imagine. He said that this will drive the price up by 1,000x, which is $70 million per Bitcoin in today's dollars. Again, 1,000x from 70 Gs is 70 million per coin. 100x from where we're approximately at 70 Gs would take us to 7 million per coin. And continuing, number 16, learn to think in Bitcoin. To conceptualize future technology in terms of ancient tech is an oxymoron. The only way to envision a common paradigm is to view it through the stage at which the city will be built upon. Number 17, you don't change Bitcoin, it changes you. You don't have the capacity or the authority to dictate to 8 billion people today how to change their life to benefit you. Saylor then mentioned the 80 billion people yet to be will dwarf our current world, a 10x in human beings. Let's go, Cyber Hornets. Number 18, laser eyes protect you from endless lies. Where my laser eyes at, fam, and diamond hands. Michael emphasized that you do not take your laser eyes off at 100,000 or a million per Bitcoin. He predicted Bitcoin is going from 1 trillion to 100 trillion, 300 trillion, and 500 trillion, which is 24 million per Bitcoin. Laser focus, family. Number 19, respect Bitcoin or it will make a clown of you, just like it's made a clown of, what's his name? Kramer and so many other clowns, Jamie Dimon, etc. There's no need to mock those who mock Bitcoin because those people mock themselves. Peter Schiff comes to mind, right? To project absurdity into a truth machine is to betray your future self and destroy your own reputation. You hear that, Mr. Shifty? Don't be a clown. Don't be that guy. Number 20, you do not sell your Bitcoin. You do not put out the fire that keeps your family warm in a freezing winter. You do not sabotage your life raft in an ocean. Life is precious, and you do not push your economic savings off of a cliff. Diversification is inferior intellect. And 21, spread Bitcoin with love, be kind. And when the disrespectful critics realize you had their best interest at heart, they will come around and contribute to the network. In time, the work put into Bitcoin will 100x, and the price will 1000x as we create 10,000x the fiat. So there you have it, yo. So yeah. And now for Luke's 3 rules for both new and expert Bitcoin buyers. Number 1, get off of zero. Number 2, get multiple trustworthy on and off ramps, have multiple exchanges with multiple business models. And number 3, get yourself self-custody ready for a 30x in price. Amen to that. Single sig, multi-sig, collaborative custody, inheritance planning, UTXO management, jurisdictional arbitrage, escrow compatible. So there you go, crypto bros. What are your thoughts on Mikey Saylor's very bold speech and talking about the Bitcoin price not only 100xing to 7 million, but 1000xing to 70 million per coin? Let me know your feedback and I'll read as many of your comments out loud.